Alexander Settler said, "I would rather own a little and see the world than own the world and see a little of it." So today I would like to convince you to spend your money on traveling instead of materialistic things. We are going to talk about why you should spend your money on experiences and not things, how travel enriches you as a person, and lastly, why spending money on experiences makes you happier than buying things. We as people are extremely curious beings, and we all have the desire to see what is out there and to see the world. Let's begin with why you should spend your money on experiences and not things. So Dr. Thomas Gilovich conducted a psychological study and came to a powerful and straightforward conclusion. Do not spend your money on things. The trouble with things is that the happiness they provide fades quickly. There are 3 critical reasons for this. One of the reasons is we get used to new possessions. The things that used to excite us before quickly become the norm. The second reason is we constantly are raising the bar, and new purchases lead to new expectations. You're never going to be 100% satisfied with something you buy. And the last reason is possessions by their nature foster comparisons. You might buy a new car and love it until your friend buys a better one. Gilovich also discovered that one of the enemies of happiness is adaptation. We'll buy something and we'll love it, but we'll adapt to it very quickly. Whereas our experiences, they really become a part of our identity. We are the accumulation of everything that we've seen, done, and the places we've been to. Gilovich and his colleagues aren't the only ones with this view. Dr. Elizabeth Dunn from the University of British Columbia has also studied the topic, and she has found that she attributes the temporary happiness achieved by buying things to something she calls puddles of pleasure. In other words, those things bring you happiness for a very short amount of time and then they fade away quickly. Materialistic things won't last forever. However, our experiences from our travels will always be in our memory. Now I'd like to talk about how traveling enriches you as a person. Firstly, it makes you more interesting. If you find yourself in a conversation with some new people, your traveling experiences will automatically make you more interesting, and people will be curious about what you've done and all the places that you've seen. Traveling will also make you more creative and satisfied with your life. It will enable you to experience different cultures and traditions, meet people from all walks of life, and broaden your knowledge of the world. There are some things that even Google cannot teach you. Being able to travel will also make you more independent, especially if you're doing it by yourself. There is nothing more thrilling and scarier than venturing into parts unknown all by yourself, and you will definitely end up learning a few things about yourself that you may not have known. And like Gustav Flaubert says, travel makes you modest. You realize what a tiny place you occupy in the world. Finally, I'd like to talk about why spending money on experiences makes you happier than buying things. More research conducted found that the majority of millennials actually prefer to spend their money on traveling and not buying things. Taylor Smith, who is the CEO of Blueboard, told CNBC, "We're not spending our money on cars, watches, and clothes. We're spending our money on renting out scooters and touring Vietnam, rocking out at music festivals, and hiking the Machu Picchu." This study was backed up by another study conducted by the Harris Group, which found out that 72% of millennials actually prefer to spend their money on experiences and not things. This shows that people are really starting to realize what truly matters in life, and those material possessions, they're not going to bring you the happiness and satisfaction like experiences will, because you'll be able to have them for your whole life. John Hall, who's also a social relationships expert, has discovered and believes that experiences introduce you to a whole new world and social relationships, which is something that possessions cannot do. You're traveling to a different country, visiting an art exhibit, or simply trying out a new restaurant becomes a part of your identity. And this ultimately increases your satisfaction and happiness. It's those little things that make us happy in life. It's not the things we buy, but it's the things we experience that we can look back on and make us happy. So today I spoke to you to convince you to spend your money on traveling and not buying things. The benefits you get out of these experiences are priceless and can never be replaced by a handbag or a new flashy watch. And like Dr. Gilovich says, our experiences are a bigger part of ourselves than our material goods. You can really like your material stuff. You can even think that a part of your identity is connected to those things. But nonetheless, they remain separate from you. But in contrast, your experiences really are a part of you, and we are the accumulation, we are the sum of our total experiences.